What is up, Geeks and Geekettes? It's another weekly edition of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me, as always, my partner in crime, the legendary Matty B.
I'm fresh out of an AA meeting, but screw it.
And if you're in the chat, say what's up. What are you excited about? The Transformers movie just dropped last week. We talked a little bit about that on YouTube. The Flash movie is officially opening worldwide on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. We also have plenty of headlines to discuss, and we're going to get into our Marvel and Disney news first because there's been a whole shakeup on the Disney movie schedule, so that's going to be on the top of our list. But first, let's get a word from our sponsors. All right, Real Retro. Appreciate Real Retro for sponsoring this video and this stream. And if you're in the San Antonio area, I promise you there is something there for everybody. I actually bought a bunch of Ghostbuster stuff there the other day. So, back to the show. We're going to be talking all about the Marvel news, the Disney news, and the Star Wars news today. If you haven't heard, I apologize for kind of bringing you guys down a little bit. There has been some more movie release delays because of the writer's strike, because of production delays, and Maddie's frozen right now. Maddie's
No.
frozen.
All right.
I can hear you. Just go
We're,
out,
no, we're
come
gonna
back.
disable. No, hold on.
There
It's
you go.
morphin. It's morphin time.
It's morphin time, he says.
What's going on here?
Y-
I'm gonna have to let you go for a second, but
Do
not
that. Do
forever.
that. Let's. we're gonna we're gonna give. There he is. There's that guy
Look at
right
that.
there.
I meant to do the whole morphin time, and shout out to the Legacy of Nerd Daniel, the sick merch coming in, and I'm gonna throw a link in the chat here in just a little bit. But the shirt is awesome. It fits well. Size up though, and that goes for all Geekcast merch too. Size up
Size up,
because,
baby.
well, I don't know, and I don't want to get racial with this, but I think that they're like Asian sizes. So I think that we gotta just go one step up just a little bit, so us fat boys can fit inside of these. But it looks great. It's well worth the money, and I'm repping Daniel all day. Legacy of Nerd. Check him out on YouTube, Instagram, and his store for sure.
Absolutely, and he's already in the chat. Speak of the devil. He says, "Yo," and he also says, "Thanks, man." Let's get back to the Marvel news. In case you missed it, today Marvel, actually more importantly Disney released their new, shall we say, film schedule, and the majority of these things have been pushed back. So before I get to the bad news, let's talk about the one movie that actually got moved up, and that is the yet to be titled Deadpool 3 movie featuring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Before it was going to be released on November 8th, 2024, it's moving up 6 months to May 3rd, 2024. So, Maddie, that is something for everybody to enjoy and rejoice about, right? Deadpool, Wolverine, 6 months sooner. You gotta love it.
I'm pumped. This is one of the movies that I've been really excited for. I really trust Ryan Reynolds in this role, and if that says anything, trusting Hugh Jackman in this role is without saying, right? I mean, I think they're going to do an incredible job. I love that this is pushed forward. I know that some things that you had mentioned just before about some certain projects we're going to have to wait what it seems like a long time for. Um, I'm a little bit upset about that, but if they're going to give me anything, this is the one I wanted.
No, I completely agree. I mean, And there are not leaks. I'm not going to say leaks. There definitely are some folks that you might consider scoopers that are claiming to have seen or read parts of the story for this movie, and they're already like kind of all in. I saw one claim that said Deadpool 3 is going to make over $1 billion. And I kind of want to say that's probably not a big hot take or a big leap,
No.
because like it's the return of Hugh Jackman. That alone should get you 750 mil worldwide. Throw in
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, that's another,
But
four or five
it's
hundred
not
million
the
plus.
nerds. It's not the nerds like us that make these box office appearances. It's the everyday folks. And so I remember just probably 8 to 12 years, like 8 to 12 years ago, Deadpool 1 and then Deadpool 2, I would be at normies' houses, just normies. And they would have this on while we're playing beer pong or doing anything else. Like when the normal folks show up to the theater, Deadpool has that pull, if you will. Like they really can get everybody involved, even if they're not big superhero fans. So I'm I think this movie's going to do numbers.
Oh, huge, massive. But you're right. It is about the general audience. It's also about the female fan base. I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to speak for the entire female nerd fan base, but I feel like you throw Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in a movie together, I feel like you're covering the entire spectrum. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
well, well, Ted, I'm telling you this right now. It's Pride Month, so I'm just going to come out and say it. If Hugh Jackman has his shirt off, I'm in. I'm in. If
There you go.
if Ryan Reynolds is doing his sexy sarcastic bit, I'm in.
There you go. It doesn't
I'm
get any
in all
better.
the way. Yeah,
Doesn't get any better.
100%. It's going to be fantastic. Them two playing off each other. I cannot wait to see what happens because that brooding, moody Wolverine character versus the sassy and sarcastic Deadpool. It is going to be fireworks.
Absolutely. All right. So that's the good news. I started with the good news. You can't hate me. Don't kill the messenger for the good news. Now let's get to the rest of the Disney schedule as it pertains to Marvel. Captain America 4, Brave New World, previously dated for May 3rd of next year, is now moving 2 months back to July 26, 2024. Let's see here. Thunderbolts, previously scheduled on that same day, July 26th. They're moving that one 5 months back. It's going to go to December 20th, 2024. There is Blade. Blade, which we were going to get next year, September 2024.
A big
Um,
movie a lot of us were excited about. Just but go ahead.
the big movie, it's already seen delays because the story hasn't been completely there. There's been rumors about back and forth with that storyline. Blade's been moved from September 2024 to February 2025. So that got pushed back 5 months. You can kind of see a little pattern here. Um, let's see here. Fantastic Four, February 2025, the spot that Blade just took over. So Fantastic Four is getting pushed back 3 months to May 2nd of 2025. And now we get to the big ones. Avengers Kang Dynasty. Now that Fantastic Four is overtaken the May 2025 spot, I apologize to everybody watching this right now, but the Avengers Kang Dynasty is moving back one whole year to May 1st, 2026. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Again, do not kill the messenger. I am just telling you what they've been reporting today. Um,
But Ted, you can't skip over this. And
no, I
switch
can't.
me over so my face isn't hidden. I got to be honest with you. Is Marvel going to give Majors the Miller treatment that DC gave to Ezra? And is that the reason why all of this has happened?
Man, you know what? I
Is the and again, I don't want innocent until proven guilty.
Sure.
I'm not casting judgment on anyone because things in this world are crazy right now.
Yeah.
However, is because the way that the multiverse and Marvel has their things tied in together, does a lot of this schedule flipping have to do with potential litigation?
Of course, right? Of
Yeah,
course. Like, it's not a question. It's absolutely part of the issue. Maybe it's almost helpful that this writer's strike is here to sort of give them more time to figure things out. You can say now the writer's strike, which has pushed back everything else, now gives Marvel a whole year's worth of time to potentially figure out what is going to be done. And yes, I know the movie doesn't get made like right before it gets released, but essentially pushing this back gives them more room to see where the pieces fall. And we've not talked about majors on this show because I'm going to be honest, like the stuff that was coming out, there was things that hurt him and then there were things that were contradicting what was being said like every single hour. And
mhm.
it was too complicated and it was too difficult to figure out like what's the real story here. Like are we sure that he was he committed these crimes, he's the things that they are saying, which I'm not going to say because we don't know. And I could just say and be sort of responsible by saying like so and so said this, but I still feel like if it comes out that the story isn't true and it just comes out that it was a misunderstanding with law enforcement or whatever the final story is, I rather not contradict things that we say on this show. And that's just how I want to do that. So
Yeah,
I still want to wait, like you, still want to wait and see exactly what happens.
yeah,
It's
and
been
one
this
hundred
long, and
percent.
that's kind of worrisome.
And we're not here to cast aspersions, but we're here to react to how the studios are reacting, and it's kind of clear. That's all we're really reacting on is how the studios are reacting to this particular news and there's other Marvel characters and things like that. So um, I don't want to cast aspersions by any means. So this is not an indictment on majors at all, but it's interesting to see the studios reacting this way and how these sort of films have been pushed back and sometimes I feel like they take us for granted a little bit. Ted, can I be truthful with you?
Of course,
We
always.
don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get hit by a bus tomorrow. So, and sometimes we lean on these properties and these projects and these stories to sort of give us that inspiration and things that we have to keep going. And so, when you get pushed off a year, I mean that's a long time, right?
It's a very long time. It really is, and that one is the big one, right? Everything else has been pushed back 3 months, been pushed
Yeah,
back 5 months. This one has been pushed back a whole year, and so there are some additional ramifications because of that. There was a untitled Marvel movie dated on July of 2025 that has been replaced with just a general Disney movie. There was a Marvel movie slated for November of 2025 that is now been replaced with general Disney movie. Um, and now we get to the second movie on your screen right now, Avengers Secret Wars, which has been pushed back from May 2026 to May 2027. And oh my God, it hurts so much to say that because when
it's
these movies
crazy.
were announced, we were like, dude, we don't have to wait that long. This is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic, you know?
Well, the Ultimate Avengers movies, all the way down to Endgame. I feel like the penultimate and that movie were shot at the same time.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then right right. And then so the characters were in their characters. They were working with the writers, the directors. Everybody's on set. They shot both of those movies basically at the same time.
Yep.
And now this is going to be quite a large gap between the projected Kang and the projected Secret Wars, and that continuity might fall apart a little bit. That what we really got from Endgame, you know what I mean? That
Absolutely.
that continuity, the characters are involved, they're crying on set.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Um,
You're right about that.
it's difficult, and it just comes back down to the simple thing of I hate these movie studios. I love them, but I hate them for doing this to us because it's a difficult thing. But I get it, man. They're doing a big $1 billion business, and they're just trying to rotate through like trying to sell houses, basically, and just trying to figure out where the market's going to hit. And that's why I have a lot of untitles, I think, right?
Yeah, a lot of untitles,
So they could
and
just kind of throw something in based on how the things are swinging. If they project it too far, maybe the political atmosphere may not be right for that release or whatever it might be. So they're saying, hey, we could throw in some junk, which is what
oh
I
yeah,
call the untitles. So
oh
we
yeah.
could throw in some stuff. They'll probably reboot another classic. Maybe they'll reboot Snow White. They might reboot, you know, something. And all we care about is the Marvel movies. So it's like it's very tough, but not everybody feels that way, so I get it.
Gunnar Barker says he's really excited for Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3.
Hey
I
Gunner,
can.
I love you, buddy. That's my cousin. That's my cousin. He tunes into every show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ted, what are you drinking there? Is that just water?
This is a True Love Sour by Martin House Brewery.
No ads, but yeah.
No sponsorship yet from them, but one day. One day. Listen, Disney is not only pushing back their Marvel movies, but they also own everything else. So let's talk about those real quick. Um, something that got added, something that got removed from their list. There was an Alien movie scheduled for August of next year, and that has basically been removed. But the name's been removed. Alien, and it's been been replaced with general Disney title. So, like you mentioned, depending on what happens, depending on what production gets going first, they can start moving these other properties around. It's not just all Marvel movie they're playing chess with. They're playing chess with all these other franchises as well. Avatar. We've seen Avatar 1, we've seen Avatar 2, Avatar 3, which was going to come out in December of next year, 2024, has been pushed back a year, December 2025.
Yeah, but knowing James Cameron, that's going on another 2 years later. The second half of Way of the Water, by the way, if you haven't watched Way of the Water yet, the second
Yeah.
act of Way of the Water, it's very good. And the practical effects he uses, there's no way that's getting released on that date. You know that's push. You know that's push. But it'll
I
be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Gunnar says, "Love you too, man." And also, he says, "There's supposed to be a Predator versus Wolverine film. Have you guys heard about it? Like a full feature film? There was a fan film, I think, done like a long time ago that was pretty decent. I
Haven't heard
want to
anything about
say, I want to say it was a Bat and the Sun guys. They did a fan film. If you're talking about something new, that would be insane. I have not heard about that.
Shout out Bat in the Sun, by the way. But um, no, I haven't heard anything, Gunner. That it if it
That
was
would be
real,
insane.
we would have heard about it. I promise.
I mean, you don't Predator doesn't win that battle, right?
So it's just if it came down to a movie studio, the major property wins. So um, I would think that Wolverine makes more money than the other one, so he would win.
Okay, in the chat right now, everybody who's watching has to vote. Who wins in a head-to-head battle? What's the environment? They in the jungle or they in urban setting? Jungle?
Um, I'd prefer. The scene starts with Logan at a bar smoking a cigar, getting into a fight, and he's lured by a smell into the jungle, and that's where he meets. You
Predator.
see what I'm saying? Yeah.
There you go. So here's the poll for the chat. Who wins in a head-to-head battle in the wild, in the jungle, Predator, and let's say it's, just Predator 1 Predator, right? Versus Logan himself, Wolverine. I think Predator's advantages. I don't want to sway anybody. If you have your own reasons for choosing whoever, please, please, please put those in the chat.
In a real
But
life battle, Predator, or I mean, he wins.
I feel like Logan
He
takes.
wins.
Well, I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
his advantages go away because he has a cloak, right? But Wolverine's keen sense of smell
Yeah, but
would totally.
the the detecting technology. I mean, he would. I don't know.
I also think adamantium probably doesn't get destroyed by
Well,
whatever
if
blast.
this was a bat in the sun video, I see it going this way. If it's a bat in the sun video, Predator wins immediately and destroys him. But you start to see Logan's body start to recover
Ah,
amongst the foliage, and then
ah,
it's Logan's revenge.
there you go.
So that's a two-part series. There we do. Predator comes in, beats Wolverine in the jungle. Wolverine heals amongst the foliage with the adamantium, and then the second part is called Logan's Revenge.
And here's the very last scene between the two. You're right. Logan takes Predator by surprise, right? But
Yeah,
Predator kind of hears him coming, so he turns and with those extended claws out, I'm talking about Predator, not Wolverine.
yeah,
Predator goes for a swipe at Logan. But what happens? Logan's adamantium claws completely obliterate Predator's, retractable claw. And Predator's like, "What?" And while he's like stunned that something could just, cut his claws in half, then he gets skewered like a Logan comic would. So yeah, no,
yeah.
100%. Jenna Kenobi's in the chat, and you came at a good time, sir. We are debating who would win in a fight, Predator or Logan in a jungle setting. I love that this is where it's gone. Legacy Nerd says Wolverine because he can heal. Yes, that
Yeah.
is absolutely 100% a big advantage. Wolverine easily, he says. Kenobi says, "Hey, worthy debate." Gunner says, at the same time, it depends on which version of Wolverine, such as Old Man Wolverine or Wolverine in his prime. You're 100%. It does depend on which Wolverine. Logan would have the hardest time, right? Old Man Logan would have the hardest
Yeah.
time. Um, but he would probably go down like he did in Logan. He'd probably win, but still succumb to his wounds. So I don't know if he would still kind of lose. Brian Weatherall, what's going on, buddy? He says neither lose. Predator wipes Wolverine, but Wolverine doesn't die. He gets to come back. As I'm typing, my ideas taken.
Bingo,
Oh, I
bongo.
love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
good. So good. We got off track, but I love the discussion. So yeah,
Yeah.
Untied. There is an alien movie on in the works. We just don't know now when it's going to come out. Oh, we were on Avatar. Avatar 4. Ooh, I said 3, right? We talked about 3. Avatar 4. Let's go
No,
back
no,
in
no.
case.
No. It would be Avatar 3 is what we're talking about.
Right, Avatar 3. So
Yeah.
Avatar 3 moves a whole year back and now comes out in December of 2025.
Well, he's got to find
Avatar.
people to hold their breath underwater for 25 minutes.
There you go. So 3 out of 4. So Avatar 3 2025. Avatar 4 2029. It goes from 2026, 3 years back, to 2029. And lastly, Avatar 5, which was scheduled to come out in December of 2028, has been pushed back to December of 2031. I just said 2031, folks.
It's Ted. It's I don't.
How old
These
am I going to be in
numbers.
31?
I mean, I don't know. I got to break out my calculator
I'll
app, but
be
it might
close.
kill my
I'll
battery.
I'll be over the hill and pretty close to 50 by that time.
That's watching it with the grandkids almost, Ted.
Get those words out of your head or those thoughts out of your head right now.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Ted. That's a long time, dude. That's like 5 years.
Oh man. Jenna Kenobi says so. Avatar moved to compete with Star Wars. Him and I planned this because that is where we're going next, to a galaxy far, far away. Because we're here to talk about what the Star Wars movies did as well. So, as we all know very well, Star Wars is owned by Disney, and everything that got pushed back affects the Star Wars movies too. So there is an untitled Star Wars movie set for December 18th of 2026, extremely close to the Avatar one, right? I don't know why you would put two massive movies in the same month. I guess you want
They
to own
because
the
they have
entire month.
no. They know James Cameron's pushing 2 years on both of those. James Cameron cannot complete a movie, even if he started now in that time frame. There's no way.
Oh
They
wait, no, there is
those
no
movies.
Avatar. Yeah, there is no Avatar in 2026. So Avatar moved from 2026 to 2029. Sorry, there's a lot of numbers, right? And Avatar 3 is in 2025. So Star Wars is the only one in 2026. Yeah, it's on
All,
lock.
all of this is crazy, Ted. Can we just leave it there?
We got two more. So there's another movie for Star Wars coming out in 2025. I'm sorry. Moved from December 2025 to May of 26. And then there's another Star Wars film that got scheduled for December of 2027. So right now we got three Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
Do
one of them will be the Porgs, an animated children's film.
hey, yeah, definitely.
No, they have no ideas. They don't know what they're doing on the Star Wars side. I think part of this push off. I don't know if Disney is really going to own this after much longer, and they keep putting it off and they keep putting it off. We heard from the last time that they had a big board meeting that the big push was we need movies in theaters. Wasn't that what we heard?
That was what it was.
And yet, here we are. Maybe in 2030, you'll get a film. It's insane, Ted, that they can't just grasp the stories. I don't know what they're doing with Star Wars. They're trying to come up with new creative stories. Fine. Do that on your own time. Do that with TV shows or whatever. The lore and the fanfare is so deep. And what the fans have said they're willing to pay for is through the roof. What are we doing here? It's like if I owned a window company and everybody says, well, we really like clear windows, right? Clear windows. That's kind of what we've been going for. And I owned the window company. I said, nah, let's make them all black. We're gonna make all the windows black so you can't see out, you can't see in. I don't care what my customers are demanding. I'm going to release a product that and then try to sell it to you. Right?
Right.
It's this is crazy. You know how many legend stories they could be just banking on right now? Money in the bank, throw it over your shoulder, no look, through the hoop. They're
Knights of the
retarded.
old Knights of the Old Republic. I've been saying it for 10 years. You have all the story there. You have a devoted fan base that loves this tale, and you can totally rock it, nail it. It's so captivating. Just to go back and pull out Revan and all these other characters, it would be insane to not go back and do a Knights of the Old Republic story. They need to do it ASAP, and they can keep guessing. Coming up with movies for Ray to do, which I'm not completely against, but we've killed all the bad guys in the modern Star Wars universe. There might be more, but they're not going to be as bad as the ones we've seen. Meanwhile, back in the old Republic, those were the biggest, baddest Sith of all time. Those are the guys we want to see. We love those guys. Go back, do old Republic stuff, and yes, I want to see that.
It's crazy,
Um,
Ted. It's crazy what they're
Daniel
doing.
s- Daniel says, "So do we know the writers? So we know the Writers Guild is in strike. Did SAG go on strike also? They haven't yet, but it's like almost a done deal. They're just waiting for it at this point." Um, Daniel says, "I'm more of a frosty window kind of guy." Very nice, very nice. Brian says they have all the ideas. They just won't let Dave Filoni run the show. Hey, he's on to something. He's on to something. Maddie's been saying that. Maddie's been saying it.
I agree. I agree.
He agrees completely. Very nice. So those are all the Disney moves, right? That happened.
What shirt are you wearing, Ted?
I'm wearing my Flash shirt, and we're gonna get to that in a second. I promise we will. Um,
I
and
like my lightning bolt better, but
yours is awesome. Of course it is. Real quick, in case you missed the news, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is swinging into a concert venue near you. So they're going on a. Is this a U.S. tour? World?
yes,
U.S. tour. A
US.
U.S. tour. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse live in concert, music by Daniel Pemberton. And if you loved the soundtrack, if you loved the movie itself, I kind of think you have to go see this. So for more information, definitely go to the page for Spider Verse on your social media, or you can go to www.spiderverseinconcert.com to get more information. I need to go to this. I need to take my son. I think it's going to be pretty epic to do that. And Kenobi says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Color me interested. A Spidey concert? Absolutely, sir. Spidey concert. Um, along with visuals, along with lights and all that stuff, it's probably bound to be a pretty excellent experience, if you ask me." Maddie, can we do a giveaway?
I would love it.
Yes.
I'm gonna give away some pee into the potty in a minute, but yeah.
I got two. I got two giveaways of one of them I'm going to do right now, and then the next one I'm going to tell you how to do it. So the
All right.
first one of which is a screening to the movie Joyride. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, the best way I could say this movie is like the Hangover with young girls who are going to flying to, I believe it's China. They're going to, one of them's going to kind of find her long lost biological mother. So there's a screening tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Regal Northwoods. The only thing you need to do to try and win these is to go to the post and tag who you want to take. And that's it. That's it. And right now, we're going to give one of these passes away. It's going to Rick Black, who I'm going to message here after the stream is over. Rick, you and your guest have a pair of reserved seats to the screening of Joyride. And if you want to be a part of this, all you have to do is tag somebody, and we're going to pick the rest of the winners tomorrow morning. So good luck to everybody who wants to go see that movie.
It's like
Go,
it's like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants meets the Hangover.
yes, it looks hysterical. It really does. I want to see it, but tomorrow, as you already know, is like a really really busy day for everybody in the
Yeah.
group. Lastly, there's one other thing that we're doing is we're giving away passes to No Hard Feelings, and you might have already seen this trailer before. It features Jennifer. I forgot your last name. You know her last name. What's her last name? Jennifer Lawrence. I figured it out.
Oh my gosh, Ted.
Sorry. Jennifer Lawrence has a new movie coming out, and again, it's another one of these like really edgy comedies, kind of just like Joyride. So if you want to check it out, there's one thing you have to do is you have to subscribe to our email list. Our email list is only for us, nobody else. We're not going to sell any information because we're not even asking for that much information. We just want your email and what city you're repping so we can give you passes to that city. If you're in the San Antonio or the Houston area, those are the two cities that we're giving away passes for right now. But drop whatever city you're repping when you sign up, and you're going to be eligible for passes whenever we have movies being released in those cities. In case you missed what I just said, free passes to the advanced screening of No Hard Feelings. And the only thing you have to do to win is join our email giveaway list. Oh, and by the way, we're not only going to give away movie passes to that email list, but you'll be in the running for the poster giveaways, the Funko giveaways, the tickets to events that we have coming up. All of those things, those folks get first dibs because they're the ones that watch, listen, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Sound great,
But
Maddie?
also, yeah, and just a disclaimer: if you're going to see No Hard Feelings, maybe bring some extra tissues. Bomb drop. Jennifer Lawrence in this movie is teaching young men how to, as you would say, consummate. And we all love her as Cagness. We all love Jennifer Lawrence. Needless to say, I'm gonna have a media pass for this, but also to say I may not keep it afterwards.
Very nice, very nice. I learned a new word from my son. So she is rizzing
Rizzing.
this young
I already
man.
knew it.
What the hell is this? Where do these words come from? If you're as
Well,
old as me, go ahead.
I'm tapped into the youth, Ted.
I
I'm
know
very
you are.
I'm very
How do you keep up with these things?
I'm very tapped into the youth, and I think it has to do with my moisturizer. I use,
Ah, of course.
yeah. So I'm keeping the wrinkles at bay, but I'm tapped into the youth. But yes, Jennifer Lawrence will be rizzing these young men, and that's not with a J; it's with an R.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And
Yes.
yes, it absolutely is. You cannot mix those two up. So
No.
yeah. So again, if you want to get in the running for these passes, go ahead and scan the QR code and fill out the information to join our email list. And good luck to everybody for those passes. Many, many more to come. If you're just getting on the email list, we've been giving away movie tickets like all summer. I don't. I'll say it now because it's already happened. Uh, we gave away over 200 tickets to the Flash movie.
Yeah, and
Over 200.
Transformers did pretty well too, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like it's all the time. I'm looking at these contests, and like sometimes you're getting out contests before I even get my media passes, Ted. Sometimes you're putting these. I'm like, wait, what? What? They're going to get to see the movie for what? My girl was very interested in this, and I hadn't heard anything about it. So sometimes the fans are getting very exclusive because I haven't even seen some of this stuff yet.
We got to give him some love. We got to give him some love.
I I agree. I'm totally on board, but I just don't want her to get caught off guard. She watches religiously, and Ted, help me out a little bit.
Sorry, Lo. I'm always got you and Maddie in the back of my head. For passes when they come out. So yeah, shout out
Just
to Lo, the most awesome country radio DJ in the country right now. I feel like she's on top of the world, man.
yeah, she's strong. She's very strong. That's why I've been trying to hit the gym. I can't let her take over the household. You know what I'm saying? Got to hold it down. But
I don't know.
she's
I see you enjoy that. She's
no.
superstar over there.
No, to be honest, I do kind of like it. I kind of like it a lot. I kind of like it a lot.
There you go. There you go. Look, we got a couple of more headlines, and then we're gonna move on to some flash discussion, because we're already like well into this. Blue Beetle new poster. Check him out. Blue Beetle drops this August. Um, awesome freaking poster, if you ask me. And the reason why I also brought this up is because James Gunn, who we all know is one half of the brain trust of the new DCU going forward, had something to say about Blue Beetle, and I just want to put it out there for the masses, just so that we can talk about it right now and not confuse anybody. James Gunn, quote unquote, he says, I mean, Blue Beetle will be the first DCU character for sure, and the
Yeah,
first full DCU movie is going to be Superman Legacy. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the exact quote is the first DCU character for sure is Blue Beetle, and the first full DCU movie is Superman Legacy. And the reason why I bring this up is because it is causing a little bit of confusion online, which is fine, but I think we can simplify this, right? Blue Beetle is going to be a character that you will see going forward in the DCU, but it is not made by or with the help of James Gunn. But everything after that, shall I say, Superman Legacy and on, is part of James Gunn's plan and vision, and therefore the first actual DCU movie will be Superman Legacy. But
right,
Blue Beetle will continue on in some shape,
right.
way, or form.
And I get the confusion online though, because, and I'll give you 2 points of contention that I see mostly online. One is when James Gunn and Saffron took over the universe, they were very much in the beginning making it seem like we're releasing these films that you're anticipating, but our universe starts with Superman Legacy. The Flash will tie into that. Remember, they kept doing this whole thing where the Flash was resetting the DC universe. We didn't know where they were with Aquaman. We didn't know where they were with the Blue Beetle, which for obviously a San Antonio based podcast, the Latino inclusion of a new superhero, pretty big freaking news, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the first point of contention. The second point of contention is now they're continuing this rhetoric of Superman Legacy is actually where we take off, and they're sort of halfway signing off on like, yeah, go see these films, yeah, go do this, but is Blue Beetle going to be a part of the universe moving forward? I think it would be really sick for James Gunn to come out and say, me and Peter did not make this movie, Blue Beetle, but he is going to be a part of our universe moving forward 100%. We've seen the film, we've seen the takes. He's going to be with us moving forward. So go out and see this movie. And they're not. They're like pussyfooting around it in a way that's like, well, is he with us or is he not? It's going to be the same thing once Aquaman comes around. And he's already an established character. Jason Momoa is a bona fide superstar. This is a new character we're introducing to the universe. I think Peter and James got to come out and just say 100% we're moving forward with Blue Beetle. And he's going to be a part of the universe moving forward, even after Superman Legacy.
I I really hope so. And you know what I hope they're not doing is I hope they're not waiting to see how the movie performs, because I just want to say that movie studios, and DC is one of them, well, Warner Brothers in particular. Warner Brothers or any other movie studio should not be too reactionary to what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine they don't make all the best decisions. Fox, for
Warner
example.
Brothers?
Well, Warner Brothers for sure, but like Fox. Fox
Yeah.
didn't want to make Deadpool. First Deadpool movie. Never would have been made if Fox
Smash
had
hit.
their way. And it was a
Smash hit.
massive success. So they don't understand completely what the fan base wants. And if something maybe underperforms or just kind of breaks even, that shouldn't dictate the rest of your plan, because movies can still, like Marvel, for example, when they were building up to the first Avengers movie, or they were building up to Infinity War, all those movies that like were just sort of mediocre or kind of meh, those made more sense. Those actually gave weight to the things they were pulling off. And movies like Infinity War and Endgame, like there's a reason for all that. Look at Andrew Garfield. The dude is like one of the most widely praised Marvel actors today, and yet his two Spider-Man movies, amazing Spider-Man movies, weren't considered like massive success stories. But they're staying the course. Things change, kind of nostalgia hits. All I'm just trying to say is don't be too reactionary anymore, Warner Brothers or James Gunn, which I don't think he is. I feel like James Gunn's the type of guy that says, I have a plan. The plan's going to work. It's just going to take time. And so if he's building towards something, if he's building towards events, he's building towards crossovers and multiverse events, then the movies that may not be huge, massive success stories will still be valuable to him when you start bringing in other characters, when you start, doing things. But the old regime for Warner Brothers, they just start axing things. They just start like, oh, this character wasn't received massively well, so let's just take all their movies out. It's too
The new
dumb to be
regime
that reactionary.
the new regime is doing the opposite of that though. They're like, hey, fans aren't really engaging with this character, but we're going to keep them around. Hence, what we'll get into maybe later. I don't think we should this early, but the Flash movie, I thought, and I know we have different thoughts on this. I thought it was terrible, and this is sort of James Gunn's and Peter Safran's first entrance for me, and this is just my opinion. I'm not an expert on anything, but I I think the Blue Beetle means so much to such a large portion of this country that to leave it on the outside of this universe and not sort of bring it in, put your arm around it, maybe give him a noogie and bring him into the universe, I think is a disservice. So that's all I'm saying. I hope that they just rally around it because the trailer looks sick, obviously. I could watch him swinging that blade over the
Whew.
concrete 1,000 times,
Yeah.
and it means a lot. And we're kind of maybe potentially losing one of our large Latino stars in the superhero space. Again, I'm not a judge or a jury, but I think it's a good time to maybe scoot in a Blue Beetle right under the heels of an MCU blunder, perhaps.
I agree. I agree. I got one more last piece of information regarding Blue Beetle that I think is intriguing. I'm not going to say it's like mind-blowing breaking news, but it's getting the gears turning online. Angel Manuel Soto, who is the director of said Blue Beetle film, dropped a photo on Twitter not on Monday, which was Superman Day, but it was yesterday he dropped this photo, and I'm going to share with you all, and I just want to get your just genuine reactions to this. That's what the director of Blue Beetle shared on Twitter. And again, Superman Day just passed, but it
Yes.
wasn't on that day. So it leads you to think like, not to say that the movie's going to revolve around the Man of Steel. Countdown City Geeks said Superman's a Blue Beetle movie. No, I'm not saying that. But anything could happen. If James Gunn is out here telling folks Blue Beetle is the first DCU character, but the first DCU movie is going to be Superman Legacy. I mean, is it too far fetched to say we might see Superman, our new DCU Superman, in a post credit scene on Blue Beetle? Is it too far fetched to say that? What do you
Im-
think, Maddie?
Impossible. Um, if anything, they would just throw Kaye in there and have a fun little time with it. When I look at these directors when they post these things, I think it's just important to go back to said comic or said time frame, um, and look at what the characters were dealing with at the time, and then just sort of devolve your clues from there. I think that's what they meant by this. Um, I think what it really looks like here is that the Blue Beetle is sort of behind Superman and pushing him forward, which is exactly what James Gunn said, which was the Blue Beetle is the first DCU character, but it's pushing forward Superman moving forward. I think if I look at this, knowing those words, that's what I kind of see here. And yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at with it.
We shall see. All I'm saying is James also said earlier today that they're close. They're very close to actually nailing down who's going to be the Man of Steel in the new DC
Good luck.
universe.
Good luck. Ted, can we
Yeah,
talk about, can we take 30 seconds here?
what's that?
I think you're going to be split no matter what.
Oh, sure.
James Gunn and Peter Safran are FUCKED here. Because even if you pick the greatest actor, even if you pick somebody who looks like Superman, half of this fan base is going to say, not Cavill.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not Henry Cavill.
for sure.
No, I mean, they're just not going to be happy with whoever's cast. And that's an important task. And I think that James Gunn and Peter Safran, I feel like they have to understand the weight of that. So, us as fans, we always have to sort of fall back a little bit. We get very militant sometimes, but they better do a good job, Dad, because you removed basically someone who was born as Superman. I mean, if you were to just tell me Henry Cavill actually has superpowers, I would believe it.
Yeah. No, 100%. Legacy Nerd says, I would really be surprised to see a new Superman. I get it. I get it. He says, maybe a shadow with a red cape at the very most. Ah, so you're thinking like Shazam 1 post credit scene?
Do not show General Kenobi's chat. Do not show General Kenobi's chat.
I don't know where he came up with
Other-
that. That's
I
randomness.
mean,
Randomness.
it's so far fetched. It would never happen,
It
General
would never
Kenobi.
happen. Never happen. James Henley says, kind of wonder if the question will also make an appearance in Blue Beetle, as that's where he did get his start comics wise. It would be a great opportunity to do the same in live action.
That's good.
I
I like that.
I know of the question a little bit, but I am not completely familiar with that. I didn't know he got started in Blue Beetle, but no, that's really awesome.
For
I wouldn't put
simple
it past him.
for simple branding purposes, and again, I'm talking about this in how it relates to the normies. I think that the Riddler is going to be very widely used with Batman here coming up soon. And I don't think, just for branding, I'm not saying the characters are the same or they're related at all. I don't think they're going to throw in a question while they're going to try to push a villain called the Riddler. I think for the normies, it's just too much.
Too much resemblance, right?
Yeah.
Alexander says they can always fall back on Elseworlds. Look at Joker, and we know they are right. There's gonna be Robert Pattinson's Batman that's not gonna be tied continuity wise to the DCU, so they can always do all this other stuff. That may be why, and we'll talk about Flash in a little bit.
No, we're not, Ted. We can't do it's too early, Ted.
A little bit. I just want to say a little bit. I won't even say spoilers when we get to the
All right,
Flash.
all right, all right, all right.
But I think one of the reasons why I'm kind of taking what could be the end of the Snyderverse so well is because now you can't say that it's impossible. Now you can bring back you really could. Now that Flashpoint is a multiversal story. That's not a spoiler. If you know Flashpoint in the comics, you know it's a multiversal story. Flashpoint
If you've seen a
basically
trailer,
opens.
it's not a spoiler. If you've seen a trailer, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways,
If
go
you've
ahead,
seen
Ted.
the trailer, you know Michael Keaton's in it. You know anything's possible now. So now you could bring back Affleck, Cavill, Ray Fisher, Cyborg. I mean, these people who we think we're not going to see in any time soon or in the near future. You could bring them back in 8, 10 years, and fans would be so surprised and love that moment to see those type of characters have a comeback. Comeback stories are always great. I can't think of a comeback story that's not great. Comeback stories are always great. So I feel like that's why I'm taking this so well. And I've even had people online like say like, "Oh, you hate the Snyderverse." I'm like, No, dude, I'm on your side. I'm just like you can do Snyderverse at any point now. Like Snyderverse has now been canonized as like you can go back to it and do something and pull from it, and it would make total sense. The Flash is in essence a Snyderverse story because you have villains from the Snyderverse in it playing out scenes from the Snyderverse. I don't know, getting off on tangent here, but still. Brian says, out of the canceled DCEU news, I would be really disappointed to see Zolo Mariduena not be part of the new universe. Love his potential, and he is a good influence. Yeah, and I think that's why they're going to keep him around, right? Because there is so much potential. Star Wars stuff says, I am ready for Brainiac. Live action Brainiac should have happened 20 years ago. It seriously, and Brian agrees. Very nice, very nice. Very cool.
We can't
Chad's
get
been on
deep on.
fire today.
I know, but we can't get deep on the Flash. It's not even out yet.
You're right. It's not out, but you're the guy that always wants us to go deep on things.
No, no, no. I do, but I do want to go deep. I want to go balls deep.
Balls deep. This isn't Geekcast After Dark, man. Is
Hey,
this a
but
is this a preview?
which premieres later this week. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to be able to just like short dive on this. I if you want to do, I'll give my initial take and what I thought about it and tease our. But we gotta let it premiere. We can't ruin it for folks.
I agree. I agree. Last bit
It
of
seems old
news.
to us, right? We've watched it twice. It seems old, but it's not to us. For some people, they haven't even seen it yet. You know.
We've watched it twice. We watched it with Supergirl. Major red carpet events, and I'm
Yeah,
just kidding. Yeah, I've seen it. We'll get honestly, it's 10 seconds away. Last thing I want to say is Walter Jones, who was the original Black Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, dropped a music single, and you can check it out now on his YouTube channel, Walter E. Jones, at Walter E. Jones. That's his YouTube channel.
it's great. I looked at it
And
earlier. It was good, Ted. I
and
was
I
like,
would
well, maybe I haven't heard from him in a while, and I was like, you know what? I'll. What else am I doing? I turned it on, and I started cleaning the house because usually that's when I dance in the house. I throw in headphones, and and there's a couple mirrors stationed around my house, and I'm doing moves. I was hitting the moves, Dad. I was hitting the moves.
his singles called Dance, so there you go. It ties in great. Honestly, it's a solid jam. And you gotta love it. A guy jumping into something like this, he could have done this 15 years ago and it would have been awesome, but he's doing it now and he's taking it seriously. And I'm gonna also throw in one thing. Daniel, who's part of our media team, who also runs the Legacy of Nerd YouTube channel, was part of the promotional announcement. He actually Legacy Nerd shirt right here. Daniel was part of the promotional announcement. Um, I helped put his promotional video together. You can see that on our Facebook page. Um, go check out the song. Um, it's so damn cool that he's even doing that stuff. If you want to see the full interview with Walter E. Jones and Daniel from the Legacy of Nerd, you can do that by going to the Legacy of Nerd on YouTube.
Isn't it funny how life works sometimes, Ted? Do you remember one of the first events we ever went to? We went to Hill Country Comic Con,
Yep.
and we were walking around the floor, and I believe Walter was like the biggest guest there.
Oh, for sure.
And he
That
walked by. Remember, so this is just a couple weeks after Ernie Hudson had tapped me on the shoulder in my Ghostbusters uniform. Here I am in Ghostbusters uniform again. Still didn't wash it from the time Ernie Hudson touched it. I'm walking by, and Walter, he hits me. Remember, he hit me right on that same right shoulder, and I said, "I'm never washing this again. It's sitting right there in the back. Still hasn't been washed. This suit has never been washed." Since Walter and Ernie Hudson touched it. I swear to God, it's not a joke. That's not it's, I love Walter, man. He was the coolest. one of them all. And you're right. He could have launched a music career way back then. I mean, he
He
had
d-
the moves in the beginning of the intro scene. I
yep.
mean, those moves. He could have joined New Edition that day.
Hey, my
I'm
God,
telling you,
he could have
he
revived
could have
New
been.
Edition.
Dude, but I'm glad he's coming out with something. I'm glad he's doing things. He's one of the coolest guys on this circuit because we go to a lot of cons, right?
Yep.
But just like in the RIP Jason David Frank really interacts with his fans, really understands the culture and the lore that goes behind Power Rangers fans, why they're so celebrating of him, and he embraces it while he's there. Walter's such a cool dude, and he just did an interview with Legacy, right?
He did an interview with Legacy
Dang, Daniel's gonna have to pay his membership dues to the geeks here soon. How is he getting all these exclusive things?
because he's that good. That's what it
No,
is.
he's so good. He's so great. He deserves it. It's good to see him getting all those interviews and doing that sort of thing. But Walter's a big one.
Absolutely. And I'm actually kind of glad that a lot of these guys on our group are in the chat because I got something coming up here in a little bit. So you guys stick around. But I want to surprise you with the Rotten Tomatoes score for both critics and audiences. You want to take a guess on what the audience score is for The Flash?
I think I bet it's close between both of them. I'm gonna say high 60s, mid 70s, and it's about an even range on both.
You said high 60s, high 70s for both?
High 60s, mid 70s, and I think that the audience and the critic score are kind of around each other. But high 60s, mid 70s.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. So I want to make sure I have the most recent
And
score
we can't
here.
take Pride Month into account. There's going to be a lot of fake content around that. We got to make sure we're keeping it real.
All right, here we go. The current score for The Flash, both critics with over 140 reviews, as well as the audience, which there haven't been that many audience reviews. Wow, that's interesting. Here you go. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. There you go. There you go. All right, here you go. Critics 72%, audience rating 95. Wow. Are you going to walk away? Don't walk away. Don't walk away. Why are you leaving?
The movie sucked. Audience score 95. My ass.
I have a theory.
I do too. It's called Pride Month.
I have a theory. Let me switch this here. I have a theory. And this may or may not be accurate. I'm just saying you and I were in constant communication when you watched this movie, right? Like when you
I
were
would say so.
on the way and everything else.
Yeah.
And this is not a shot at the our partners with the studios like Warner Brothers and all that because they do a great job. They've given us all this access and stuff. Um
I love them. They're great.
but the on the ground people who are
Suck.
most of the time different companies, they didn't have everything organized well, and so you had a lot of issues getting in, getting your seats, all that stuff. And it's something that we haven't experienced before. Usually, like, we've been doing this for years and people know us and blah blah blah. So I think because you had a less than optimal time just getting to the movie, I think it jaded your whole experience. Am I
Buddy.
kind of right about that?
No. And I get how you would think that. I Dude, when it comes to something that I have been looking forward to, that I have been in conversations on, I am recorded on every social media platform that exists for a long time now, talking about this movie. Not sitting in my preferred seat isn't going to sway my opinion. I hated this film because I don't like whiny people. And Ezra Miller's character and Ezra Miller in general is just a whiny person. I didn't like his character. I hate that they overused nostalgia at the end to sort of make this thing happen. We saw a lot of cut to scenes where all of a sudden now we're here or now we're there, and there was no explanation of how we got there. In
Yeah.
some of those final scenes, I hated this film, and again, my personal feelings about Ezra Miller aside, I hate him. He's a criminal bastard with a cult. But aside from that, I hate the way they used one of my most nostalgic characters. I hated the Big Lebowski tabletop kung fu scene. I didn't like the way they
Oh,
treated Sasha Kaye. I hated this film, Ted, and it had nothing to do with me not getting my preferred seat, which I ended up getting anyway. I got a
well,
very nice seat. I hated this film, Ted, because it sucked.
I don't mean to say that the Matty B can be so easily swayed in his opinions. All I mean is that, like, dealing with people who don't know what they're doing in
Yeah, no,
any
and
setting, can put a sour
I
taste in
can
your
get
mouth.
annoyed. You're right. You're well on with the personality profile, Ted, because I get
I get
pissy.
annoyed when I go to a bar and I have a bartender who doesn't know what they're serving me.
You
I'm
know,
like,
I
"Why do you
was
work
pissy.
here? Why are you giving me a beer that you've never tried? If you're a
Mm,
bartender, you should have tried every beer that you're serving people."
yeah, I get it.
That's neither here nor there. Um, I will talk briefly, and this is non-spoiler territory because Maddie's right. Not a lot of people have seen it. Um, I really liked this movie the first time I saw it, and then the second time I saw it, it was even more enjoyable. The jokes hit harder. The emotional beats, which kind of worked for me the first time, they worked better the second time around. And it felt like it was definitely a worthy story of the scale. The Flashpoint comic arc is like a very massive story. Like it's like endgame level story. And that's not exactly what we got in this movie. You're not getting endgame level stuff here, but they used so much of that story like so well that I have to applaud them for it. And to go and to switch something up, for those who know the comic book story, they used Thomas Wayne in that story, which would have been epic if you would have got a guy like Jeffrey Dean Morgan to play Thomas Wayne. He was also down to kind of do it too, but instead they went Keaton, and honestly, I'm glad they did. I loved it. I think that he had enough of an arc, and towards the end of the movie, the things that he was saying, I got to reflect on it. I was really distracted the first time I saw this movie. It was a red carpet. There was like media and press, and we were trying to like figure out like what our part in all the hoopla and all the, everything was. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say to Sasha Kaye, who was in attendance. And I also had my 16-year-old son like telling me what to do. And I'm just like, Get out of my ear. You know how I am. I need like silence to hear my own thoughts in those situations. And my son gave me none of that. So I was like, stop right now. Leave me
That's why you
alone.
bring me, because I'll just go over to him and be like, boobs. You look over there.
Geekcast After Dark, baby.
Oh, okay.
Um, so yeah, I honestly, the second time I saw this movie, I honestly appreciated everything they did and more. I'm not gonna claim it's the best movie of all time like some people have. I'm not even gonna say it's top 5, but it's definitely in my top 10. I would say top 10 for sure. Even just like the opening scene, the first act, it's not perfect by any means.
Wait, are you talking
The,
about the annoying
the
I
exact
need to
same
get my
movie.
peanut butter sandwich scenes?
That was
Oh my
brief.
god!
That was
I
so
was,
brief. I
oh,
underst I understood that part because when people watch it, the comedy of that is doing everything he did in the time it takes for that one barista to make a peanut butter sandwich.
dude, whatever, dude. It was so bad, Ted.
I
That
love
is so bad. Can I get my peanut butter sandwich, please? Please. I mean, I gotta go. It's
I
like
love it.
I felt like you could have replaced him with Roseanne Barr.
Mm.
It
Mhm,
was
mhm.
like it's like that level of like annoying voice that I just never want to hear. He was hitting that on every tone, and everything was so dramatic and nonchalant. And then I felt like Sasha Kaye, you're introducing Superwoman. She needed a moment here. She needed. They brought back Michael Shannon. Basically, had no role. He was just. They could have just CGI'd him in there, which I think they did. The Batman's movements, keep it keep it Tim Burton, keep it what he's capable of. All the CGI, the 98% of this movie was straight up CGI. I mean, they
100%.
didn't even I mean, even in the faces, which they had to do because this movie's been in production for a million years. So these actors look a lot different and the whole movie felt fake
No.
and it was just it was bad, Ted. The scenes when the Batwing
Blank,
swings
blank, blank.
up.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
it's on, and the blank, blank, blank. When Michael Keaton blank, 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 and Michael Keaton's Batman is doing blank, blank, blank. All that's awesome.
Yeah.
The rest of it can,
I
and I'm throwing dice.
You are doing, yeah, throwing dice.
I'm
At the
throwing
casino,
dice.
he's in Atlantic City. Um, I'll go back to this first opening scene. The action sequence of the opening scene was something you had never seen before, and I won't say the specifics, but just the things that they did to differentiate Barry Allen from every other superhero and the rules that they're kind of sticking to. They're very subtle rules, but I enjoyed it a lot, and they stuck to it throughout the movie. They stuck to the rules, and they're very small, minute details. But director, um, forget his
Pride Month, Star Wars stuff.
forget his name.
Pride Month.
Andy Muschietti. He is a director who is very detail oriented. And so the little things you appreciate even more, but you have to pay attention to them. Everybody who's watching, you have to pay attention to the little things, the rules that they kind of dictate on the Flash, which they didn't do in previous movies. They kind of gave them some limitations, but they weren't really harping on those, and they were on this one. So you gotta love it. I
Yeah.
I honestly want
Or
to give to
he could have
Ezra.
just went to Costco and got some protein bars. It's not that freaking hard.
There's other things too.
This
How
guy
how
is
he can and cannot move people. They stuck with that.
I agree. I agree. That part's cool. The whole protein thing, we're expecting this guy to save the universe. At least Peter Parker has a little bit of common sense. Of course, he's a dumb teenager, but this Ezra Miller guy can't even just pack a protein bar. He's so distraught with everything going on. The kid can't carry a protein bar to make sure that he can save the world.
Have you seen his apartment? He's not exactly the most organized person.
Well, it was actually a direct representation of who Ezra Miller is as a person. I truly believe that.
And
I
my
think
son.
that the character of the Flash of Barry it came through very fully of who
Sure.
Ezra Miller is as a person, and he's not to be trusted with the future of anything. And we need to remove him from the universe completely. I wish I had a bomb drop.
Bomb drop. um I actually want to give respect to Ezra playing in the trailer. You see him playing two versions of himself, and they are so distinct in their behaviors, in their personalities, that it's number one, extremely well written, and then number two, extremely well executed by Ezra. And then as the movie goes on, their two motivations, morph over time, and it's again extremely subtle. Marvel movies will bash you over the head with story arcs. They will absolutely bash you over the head with a character and what they're doing in a movie, but this movie, it's very subtle how their motivations change and why they change. And I do think that it's still something to be praised with how they started and how they changed over time, how where they ended up at the end of the movie. It's honestly really good. I really appreciated how
Do you think
Ezra
that's
pulled off these both characters.
do you think that's art?
Yeah.
To me, that's just like a bipolar schizophrenic weirdo who's playing a bipolar schizophrenic weirdo.
Well,
Like the
he's
whole
not
time
playing a
the whole
bipolar
time
person. He's playing two
no,
different people.
but you can't this isn't Leo we're talking about here. He's not
Oh,
he is a bipolar, very mentally troubled person, this actor. And I bet he shot a lot of these scenes as one person. And yeah, maybe he came back and shot scenes as a different person. I think it's literally he is a flawed individual, and we've had a lot of great movie stars who have been that way. So I'm not saying that I'm not shunning them or putting anything down on that, but I don't think that that's not an art. He's not practicing that like paintbrush on a canvas. He's just a very weird and troubled individual. And we got you see what I'm saying? Like
I
if, listen to what
probably
I'm saying though.
it's probable.
And
Yeah,
but if you take what I'm saying,
yeah.
I promise you, if you take what I'm saying and go back and watch it again, which I know you'll watch this movie 4 more times after this because you love it that much. I'm telling you, take what I'm saying and go back and watch it, and you'll see that this is a very chopped together, very troubled individual inside of this role. And it's not this sort of masterpiece. It came out and it looked well because really good editors and really good people did everything they could to try to save this movie from his disaster he created. Right?
It takes a
I'm,
team. It does take a
I'm telling
team.
you. Hey, look, Star Wars stuff is just trolling the chat at this point. But I'm telling you, this is a very, very troubled individual. He is a bipolar, schizophrenic person, and that's why it comes across so clear in this movie. And so we need to stop putting him in front of cameras and get this gentleman some help because he's going to have it at some point. I mean, Heath Ledger wasn't that far, and look what happened there.
So our
We
stuff
got to
says
we
this
got
is
to
Matty
take him off.
B's The Last Jedi of comic book films. LMAO. The Last
Yeah.
Jedi is, yeah, definitely one of those for you. Andy is now in the top level of
See,
directors.
no, look, read
We,
through these before you go, Ted. He's trolling.
let's give him one more before we do that. Geekcast Sweaty After Dark. Ooh, he says Flash is a top 3 DCEU film for sure. With your other two are what? BVS and Snyder Cut? Are those your other two, or Man of Steel? What are the other two then? Let me know. Roseanne is another great talent.
See, he's trolling.
Well, Sasha was awesome. We all agree on that part. She was great because in Flashpoint, the Kryptonian of that storyline wasn't fully understanding of what they were, but in this situation it's different, and so they played on that really well. Like, look, she's wearing the suit in the trailer, so she's Supergirl, right? But she personified and really took on that same sort of Henry Cavill type attitude, and that's who this character's supposed to be in this universe. Like, she's basically Superman in this universe. Like, same story, same origin, yada yada yada. They just fell into two different places, but to get she still had to be reminded of motivations and stuff like that, and she did extremely well for being this super person, this
She was
Kryptonian.
more ruthless than than Cavill, in my opinion. I liked it. I thought that she was like way. I thought she was a little bit more badass than Henry Cavill. Even like she was ready to go.
Legacy Nerd says one thing that annoys about the Flash TV show is that Grant Gustin Barry Allen cries in every episode. Hey, I almost cry in every episode. So there's that. I'm just kidding. Upper 90 percentile in audience score says a lot though. Hey.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of Pride Month people are boycotting the film. Interesting. Did not know that. You answered your argument right there. He is a kid. If Ezra didn't have all that off camera stuff going on, he would be vaulted into the big leagues from his performances, plural,
Hey Ted. Hey
in
Ted.
The Flash.
If
Yeah.
David wants to be on the show, he could have joined. All right, can we move on to somebody else, please? And we're not going to read every Star Wars stuff podcast comment that comes through. David, you could have joined the stream tonight, buddy. You could
Ezra
have
probably is
let
a troubled
people
young
give us
man,
go.
but he's a freaking great actor. He's honestly getting really close, right? He needs like a solid Oscar nominated role to kind of put him in that
He
top
needs
tier.
therapy and he
He
needs
does,
help.
which he might be getting already. We're not we're
Mhm.
not in that camp, so he might be. I'm not shunning or putting anyone for this, but let's try to shut up.
But that's
Pretty
but
funny.
Brian, go back. Brian, go back to that.
Yeah.
Brian, and again, I only keep reiterating that because I don't want people to think that I just genuinely like hate this person. I think Ezra needs help. And I've been on this train for a long time, even before maybe you've been watching the streams. I think this gentleman needs help. And I through even this performance, I could see certain things. And I worked with kids who had some pretty severe mental issues, and I just I can't see past it, and I just think he needs help. So that's all I was going there with that, Brian.
Dave says Man of Steel and Snyder Cuts. I was close. Man of Steel, Snyder Cut, his top two, and then I guess he puts this one at number three, which this would be. Ooh, if I was to rank all these with DC movies, ooh, does Joker get in there though? I don't know.
Maybe.
It is an Elseworld, so that's kind of. I would still put Justice League Snyder Cut at one. It was just so epic. I probably put Man of Steel 2 BVS Extended Edition at a close three, and I would put Flash at four.
But you put that above some of the classics because we brought back Keaton. I mean, like literally, like you put that above Batman '89. Like
Well,
to
I
me,
know. I'm
like that's like a
just
genius
saying,
film.
like, no, Snyderverse on.
Okay. Well, speaking of which, we heard that our friend Silent Bob saw a film which Matty B was calling for a long time ago. Do you remember what the name of that film was and what it was? It was the Batman Forever Schumacher cut, which he is releasing a review of maybe this week.
Really?
Um, and I think it's a rebuke to the Flash movie. But apparently, Silent Bob this week has seen and has a copy of the Schumacher cut of the original Batman Forever film from Schumacher. So um, that'd be interesting to see. Release the Schumacher cut. I'm making those T-shirts tomorrow.
I'm down, man. I heard it was awesome, and David also heard it was awesome. And yes, we're glad that your doggy is feeling better, man. Because yeah, I read earlier that he was having some health problems, but I'm glad he's doing better now, man. That is good news. Legacy Nerd says, I think the Snyder Cut was better, but I don't think it's a top three DCEU. The Snyder Cut? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, he says he enjoyed Aquaman and Shazam better. Aquaman was like really good. I just wasn't invested. And Shazam, same thing. Really good, just I wasn't invested.
Yes, and
Not like
Snyderverse. I
not
like
like those other
BVS.
ones.
BVS I thought was badass. BVS was awesome. The Martha scene, the whole thing, the kryptonite gas,
The whole fight scene,
the
honestly. And
warehouse scene, the warehouse scene.
warehouse scene, top cinematic scenes in comic book history of all time. That warehouse scene is just legit. Legacy says more nipples. Absolutely, bringing them back, baby. Don't call it a comeback. Um, Honestly, I guess that's all I want to say about the Flash. I don't want to get into everything, but when it it drops this weekend, we'll have a major spoiler review, and we'll have a lot to say about it. There were a lot of scenes that I watched the second time around. Like I mentioned, it they kind of worked better for me. They made more sense either because I was more in a mindset of just enjoying the movie as opposed to working like I was the first time, um, or just that it takes really two viewings to kind of see all the minute details that they sprinkled into this movie across it. There was really only one scene or one cut that I thought like, okay, that didn't make any sense. Other than that, like I don't have a lot to complain about with this movie. Stay for the end credit scenes. There is one mid credit scene. Is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah. There's one mid credit. There's there's a final scene which is like you know um it's gonna blow your mind a little bit, and then there's also a mid credit scene that is is okay. It's kind of cool. It's not groundbreaking stuff. So don't get your hopes too high. But we want to hear from you guys whenever you get a chance to see the Flash. We want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are. And warehouse scene was the shit. Absolutely. Brian says, I agree. He needs help, and I worry the pressure of this movie isn't helping. Mental issues suck. I suffer myself. I really hope I disagree on your take on the movie. He hasn't seen it
I
yet.
I feel
Brian's
you,
gonna see
Brian.
it tomorrow.
I'm with you, brother. I struggle with stuff too.
And Brian's gonna check it out mañana. Matty B has
Okay.
good takes, even though we don't always agree. He actually convinced me to see The Little Mermaid.
Great movie.
There you
Ted,
go.
great movie, right? What you thought it was a good movie?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I didn't like the new rap scene. I thought Under the Sea could have been a little more hype. That's a big hit of the movie. I thought overall though it was great.
Yeah. No, I agree. Honestly, we probably should have revisited that afterwards, but massively enjoyable movie.
Hmm.
You should have seen the wife and the daughter watching it. They were
And,
just
and Eric got a
invested the whole
solo.
time.
Yeah, I brought Lauren. She cried 5 times. I almost had to bring her out of there. She was like, like there's like like cute crying, and there's like like she was like crying, dude.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. Brian says my favorite Disney movie when I was 5. Absolutely. He also says I'm a ginger for context. Appreciate that. Little Mermaid was solid. I love the rap. It surprised me. Here we go. I teased something earlier. We have to do it again. I'm going to take off this flash, but we're going to keep talking about it because it's time for another round of the Countdown City Geeks Fantasy Box Office. Presented by Real Retro. Fantasy Box Office is the game where the Geekcast and you at home try and place your bets on how well a movie will do worldwide in its opening weekend. We've been doing this all year. We've only picked like 3 or 4 movies at this point, but the next one, of course, is going to be one of the most anticipated movies of the year, perhaps of the last few years, the Flash movie featuring Ezra Miller, Michael Keaton, and Sasha Kaye. So, a lot of these guys on the team are in the chat. If they're still there, I need your worldwide predictions. So, if you want to play along at home, let's see how close you get. The rules are you just get as close as you can. Not Price is Right rules. Doesn't matter if you go over or not. Worldwide opening weekend. What's it gonna be, Matty B? Start with you.
73 million.
Worldwide, 73 million.
Oh no, worldwide. I was doing domestic. I thought that's what we did the last time.
No, we always did worldwide.
110.
110. All right.
Yeah. It's Father's Day. People might be watching it the next week. Yeah, I'm gonna go 110.
I like it. Legacy Nerd. There he is. He's in the chat. Says I'm gonna say 300 million. I would have said 350, but there's been like 300 preview screenings of this movie.
Yeah, it's been out. It's already. This isn't even release weekend, kind of.
Well, this is where the money's made, right? The other ones have been free.
I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of money on beer and popcorn.
David says 130.
I think Father's Day is going to hurt it a little bit.
You could be right. You could be right. There's Father's Day. There's also the Monday showings that sold out will also probably go towards its opening weekend, so that might help it out. Thursday is going to be a massive thing. The audience score might help it on Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes people, go based off those things. I'm gonna kind of give this a slightly higher than David prediction. I'm gonna say worldwide opening weekend. It probably does better overseas if we're being honest, right? It's one of those movies where like Michael Keaton, The Flash, it probably does slightly better overseas than it does here. I'll say 155 worldwide opening box office weekend.
Now I feel really low. 110.
You said Father's Day might hurt it, and
Yeah, but
you're
also
probably right.
yeah, but no, I was just thinking because I know it was kind of projected around like 65, 70 domestic, and so I was thinking, well, it'll probably outperform that.
No, Dave, no
And
changing.
yeah, no, yeah, there's no changing, but yeah, I definitely undershot it. Yeah, that 150 mark that does sound good, Ted.
I'm just kidding. Don't take it from me. I'm not nailing it every single week on these guesses. So
But Father's Day is going to hurt it a bit, I believe, because it's already been. It wouldn't have hurt it if we hadn't been watching this movie for like 4 weeks already. It's already been out.
hmm, you're right.
Everybody's already. There's already a bootleg online.
All right, David says 164. I'm gonna allow the change. So Dave wants to go.
No, he can't do that.
You can change yours if you want.
No, he can't.
You don't want to
He can't.
change yours?
No, no, no. Hell no. He can't go. Then I can change mine. I'm going
I'm telling you, you can't.
164.1. I'm 164 and a dollar.
You're gonna have to. Y'all are gonna be silly if
No,
it
no, no,
goes
hell no.
110.
No, he said 130 and then did some research on his on the computer and went he said after he you gave yours, he can't change it to 164. My ass, he's stuck at 130. And that's coming from the C suite, baby. That's coming from the admins. No, he's at 130, Ted. He's stuck.
Brian says a blockbuster action movie released on Father's Day weekend never works. 200 million. It's the highest one so far. Oh, not the highest one, but you're right. Very cool. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll follow up next week when the movie drops, and we'll see how it goes. Oh man, can't wait for everybody to watch it. We'll see what happens. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, follow us on countdowntothegeeks.com. Dropping more articles very soon. We've got a lot more stuff in the works. We're getting closer to the superhero Comic Con and car show. If you don't already have tickets, what are you doing? Go ahead.
We have fans coming in nationwide, Ted.
Nationwide,
Fans
absolutely.
of the show, fans of the Geekcast, fans of Ghost Head Radio are making trips from multiple states. I mean, my gosh, it's a big trip to come down. Everybody you know, tell them this is the show to be at. It's going to be sick. When I got that news earlier, Ted, I was like, "What the hell? That's sick." And we haven't been on Ghost Says Radio for a minute,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No, you're
he's still
absolutely right.
keeping up with everything. Shout out to Pac Man, by the way. Shout out to Pac Man,
Pac-Man from the South Dakota GB team
Ghostbusters.
who's
Yeah,
coming down specifically for this crew right here. Look at that. Elizabeth Olsen, Andrew Garfield, Brie Larson, Amelia Clark, Kit Harington, Haley Steinfeld, and more are going to be in attendance. So what are you doing? If you don't have your tickets yet, go right now to pmxevents.com. Get your tickets, get your autographs, get your photo ops. before they're gone. Honestly, a lot of these things are going to sell out. And we had a conversation. By we, I mean the Countdown City WrestleCast last week with the CEO himself, Bob Wills, who was on the show talking about their AEW wrestler guest, MJF, Jade Cargill, and he's excited. And he also says Saturday tickets are probably guaranteed to sell out. It's just a matter of time right now. So do not miss your chance and opportunity to come see one of the absolute best lineups and honestly that I can remember. There's never been a lineup like this.
It's good, Ted. It's good, Ted. Um, and we're growing with this con. I think that's one of the cool things for anybody listening or watching. This is a newer con that they're getting together. Ted has very tight ties with Bob, and you know they're not best friends, but we're growing together. And every year they achieve excellence, and last year was awesome, Ted. We went viral big time, and they've stepped it up. And my favorite thing of all time is that I can bring my $10 10 that I bought last year at the Superhero Car Show and Comic Con, my Batman 10, and fill that right up with some popcorn, some beautiful, delicious popcorn. It's awesome. I can't wait. I haven't been to San Antonio since I left. I got friends coming in from all over the place. It's going to be lit. Lauren's coming.
100%.
Lauren's coming because she heard that Amelia Clark and Kit Harrington were going to be there, so she's on the way. It's going to be a freaking awesome time. And what are we 3 weeks out?
Three and some change, 3.5.
I can't wait, Ted.
I can't wait either. Superhero Star Wars Stuff Podcast says, don't forget about Katie Sackhoff and Ming Na Wen. We are absolutely not forgetting about them. They're also going to be in attendance. And I guess it's a pretty good time to kind of mention that the Countdown City Geeks are going to be moderating the second stage at this event. And yours truly will be doing the majority of the panel moderating and most likely will feature these two as well. So come check me out on stage with half of this guest list, and let's have a good time, folks. The audience last year, the energy was there. You can feel it. They were all excited just to have a con of that size back, after the pandemic. And this one is going to be even more massive. So cannot wait to get back on stage and do it all over again. You remember we had a good time last year.
Yeah,
Understatement.
we had a pretty interesting time last year. And shout out to Giancarlo Esposito,
Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito. Big shout out.
So our stuff says you did a great job moderating last year, Ted. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And the best part is not that I'm going to be doing this again, but that like our whole team is going to be on site. We're going to have our own booth. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have photo opportunities. We're going to have merchandise to sell from some of the artists that we've made friends with over the years. So we're just going to have a lot going on. So no matter what, if you're watching this, if you go to the car show event, you have to come hang out with us at our booth. And then we might be putting on a little unofficial after party on the weekend. So be on the lookouts for that.
I don't
Oh
like
man,
parties, Ted.
it's not what I
I
heard.
don't, I don't like to party, Ted.
I'll plead the fifth on that. That's gonna do it for us in the Countdown City Geekcast. Legacy Nerd says, "Come go get a photo up with the geeks." Absolutely, free of charge. He says, and got some giveaway stuff for the booth. Absolutely, plenty of stuff, giveaways, posters, merchandise, all that good stuff. That'll do it for this episode of the Countdown City Geeks. Appreciate everybody who's on the chat. You guys are absolute fire tonight. Love the discussions. Love the topics. We will be back next week, and there's a bunch of shows starting up. Right, Ahsoka is right around the corner. Secret Invasion is right around the corner. And then this weekend, I may or may not want to talk about it briefly. Is Walking Dead, the new Walk Dead
Yeah,
City.
and I saw that. I was going to talk to you about that off air because I know you're a big Walking Dead fan. Watched it
And
all the way
Logan,
to the end. I kind of like what I saw here recently. It kind of actually got me a little bit interested. So I'd like to talk to you about that. And maybe we'll be working. We got a couple Star Wars guys, maybe General, maybe David, Star Wars stuff. I want to do a Ahsoka watch party. So stay tuned.
100%. Stay tuned. That'll do it for us. Once again, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Don't forget about all the giveaways we're doing. Joyride is tomorrow. If you want tickets to that, go to our post. If you want tickets to No Hard Feelings, there's a QR code for the giveaway. Subscribe to our mailing list to be in the running for that, and do it soon because we're gonna pull those names on Friday. And you're also gonna get it. You're also gonna get included for all the other giveaways we do for movies in the future. So do not miss out on that. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me is my very good friend, the one and only, the man himself, Matty B. That's a first.
Great show, guys.
Oh, appreciated everybody in the chat. And lastly, let's get a word from our sponsor. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Retro is San Antonio's most popular 80s and 90s retro store. Band tees, stickers, records, DVDs, jewelry, novelties, electronics, collectibles. Real Retro is your #1 source back to the 80s and 90s. Come relive the best years of your life. Real Retro.